Budapest Film Academy has professionals that are ongoing in the field currently.
We teach filmmaking as business, recognizing that cinema is both art and commerce.
There were a lot of good teachers. We had Oscar winner Christoph Biak.
The Budapest Film Academy is an institution with a very practical approach.
I didn't know a lot about Budapest, but getting out here, learning about the culture, the people, the history, it's been great.
In a city like this, in which there's constant creativity going on, there's artists at every block, it really was impossible to not want to create my own stuff. I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity.
I came to Hungary because I know that the movie business is blowing up here. Like, this is the new Hollywood, Budapest, and I hear more and more movies are being made here. So if you want to make movies, this is where it's at, I think.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I came here.
For me, no, it was really different. I just wanted to kind of escape my country, and I got lucky with being in Hungary. It was a bit spontaneous, but then as well, like for filmmaking, it was a great choice.
Then of course there are several different film schools in Budapest, but for me Budapest Film Academy felt like the right choice because it's not like several years. Because I keep hearing that film school is not really where you learn to make movies, but you make connections. So for me that was actually a good fit, that you get there, you get to talk to people, you get to ask questions, but you don't lock yourself down for like 4 years.
Yeah, and you can choose your courses, like you don't have to be taking every course.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that you can take several at the same time. So I did producing, directing and cinematography, and I learned a lot in all of them.
I studied screenwriting and directing at Budapest Film Academy for 2 years, and my favorite screenwriting teacher was a teacher who came from the USA, whose name was David.
I'm an associate professor of screenwriting at Los Angeles. We have a study abroad program where the students come to Budapest for a semester, and we teach about screenwriting the way it's taught in Los Angeles and Hollywood.
Originally, I'm from the East Coast of the United States of America, but currently I'm studying abroad here in Budapest.
Before I joined Budapest Film Academy, I was a little bit concerned that it wasn't going to be as practical as I was hoping for. I definitely wanted to be on the ground, making things and working with things. I wanted to have equipment and cameras in my hands.
My first impression of the Budapest Film Academy was that it was an institution with a very practical approach. The Budapest Film Academy is very different from other similar institutions in that it provides a wide range of possibilities for the students. It allows students to either take a full degree or to take individual modules, which is very useful if you have a side job.
So this is my third time teaching for a semester here in Budapest, and some students from a previous semester visited while I was here because they wanted to revisit the city, and they told me that they had written a TV pilot based on their time as students here in Budapest with the culture, all the experiences, and one of the characters in it, one of the Hungarian characters, was based on none other than Hodi.
He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about, whether it be directing or screenwriting.
Or just stories of his entire
Or
life.
just stories. He's got a
stories.
lot of stories. He's quite the character.
Hi, I am Jenő Hódi, the director and founder of the Budapest Film Academy. I would like to share with you what's special about our school and how do we differ from others. I studied filmmaking at Columbia University in New York, where I was fortunate to learn from several incredible teachers, each providing unique insights into filmmaking. Oscar winner Milos Forman will always emphasize drama, character and conflict. He encouraged us to explore the character's desires, weaknesses and needs. What does the character truly want? On the other hand, Brian De Palma focused on visual storytelling. He challenged us to consider carefully where we place the camera and how each shot helps us to tell our story. Finally, I'd like to mention John Avildsen, the director of Rocky. He's also an Oscar winner. He taught us the realities of the film industry, that filmmaking is a business, and stressed the importance of creating films that enable producers to recoup their investments.
One of the biggest benefits of being in the Budapest Film Academy is that you have all these different forms of classes for cinematography, for directing, for screenwriting, and you're surrounded in each of those classes by people whose specializations are completely different from your own. So after having finished my own screenplay, I'm actually able to send that out to people who see the world entirely differently and who view filmmaking through a different lens than I do.
Sometimes you are drawn to a specific path, but then when it comes to practicing, you realize that you might be suitable for something else within the film industry. And the setup of the Budapest Film Academy gives you the opportunity to test yourself and your skills in different arenas.
One of the huge benefits at Budapest Film Academy is that the classes are incredibly small. So every day that I would step into the screenwriting class, I was able to directly interact with each of the guest lecturers that they brought in, which means that any question that I would want to have, we were actually able to spend more than just 2 or 3 minutes discussing what I was asking.
You get to learn by doing, and this is not a possibility that all film institutes or academies have. Here the student already finishes with experience and credits to their names.
I was able to learn from people who are actually working in the industry here in Hungary, which I didn't know existed, but it turns out to exist quite prominently. And the people who are here, they're very clever with the ways that they have to work. So we don't have access to a lot of the things that the United States does, and these people make really big projects happen through just what they have in their hands. I find that to be very impressive.
The show is on, it's always like this.
Primarily, we focus on genre films created with specific audiences in mind, because genre determines the audience. We teach filmmaking as business, recognizing that cinema is both art and commerce. Our philosophy is simple: acquire foundational knowledge across all these disciplines and then excel in at least 2 of them. I believe this approach is the key to success.
I must say that my favorite instructor at the academy was Ienő. All the professors were really good, but Ienő is particularly a great storyteller. He is someone who doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he has a very practical approach to filmmaking. He wants to deliver the highest quality for the lowest possible budget, and this requires a lot of planning. And I think this is what I really learned from him, that it all boils down to very meticulous planning.
Classes at BFA taking place at nighttime between 4 and 7 p.m. That meant that a lot of the days I was able to just wake up, go to a cafe, in which there's plenty in this city, sit down and just work on my screenplay until my classes began. So it was really easy for me to just concentrate specifically on exactly what I was trying to do.
I think my time at the BFA was very unique and very beneficial. I do a lot of screenwriting, but at BFA I got the chance to do a lot of other classes like producing, cinematography, directing. I think all of these kind of worked like hand in hand, where it like made me think as a screenwriter, oh, how would I imagine these shots? If I had this budget, how would I put this? Would I do it in 1 location? Would I do it in 2? How many actors can I have? Directing made me think about like, how would I make my scenes? How would I block my actors? How do I imagine these scenes playing out? They all kind of like created this system of like creativity where it's like I'm constantly thinking about things. Getting that opportunity was not something I originally had. I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity.
The professors at BFA, they're very insightful. They have a lot of useful information that they can provide, not only on the US side of filmmaking and whatnot, but European filmmaking in general. You don't really get a lot of that in the States.
I think BFA helps a lot as well with like taking these small ideas and making it feel like it's actually possible to do it.
Oh,
for
definitely,
yourself.
yeah.
Like full-length films can be horrifying to make those first steps with, but if you only need to do 5 or 10 minutes, all of a sudden it seems possible.
Exactly, and there's so much talent just in the classes. Like there is no shortage of people willing to work on these types of projects.
The most interesting classes I took this semester was the cinematography class. It was very like hands-on, and I came into this program not knowing that much about cinematography, and I feel like I learned a lot. I learned a lot of different terms and different techniques that I didn't know before. I felt like I really needed to work on my videography skills. We would shoot like a little project, and I liked the hands-on work that we got to do. And it was like right after we would learn about the thing, so it was nice to kind of get the presentation and then be able to implement it yourself into your own project.
One of the classes that really helped me out with this was cinematography, where I was often playing the role of cinematographer. You know, I am pretty good with the camera, but sometimes you need to have someone directing you. And you know, sometimes you're working on your own project where you get to decide all that. But an important skill that I really learned a lot about here was working with other people, being managed, working on big projects like that. That was something I feel I got a lot out of when it comes to my classes here.
There were a lot of good teachers. We had Oscar winner Christoph Diak. He taught me a lot, but my favorite still has to be Gabo Savo. He's a legend in the industry, amazing cinematographer, and also really good in teaching. He wrote a book that I think that everyone should read, and even famous cinematographer Marcel Rev, he posted about it on Instagram, saying how essential it is.
Screenwriting is my passion, and I mean, Eastern Europe has always been somewhere I've always wanted to visit. I didn't know a lot about Budapest, but getting out here, learning about the culture, the people, the history, it's been great.
Going to a new place, being with new people and learning from new perspectives is something I think can really push my writing and bring it to the next level. That kind of all like builds together and helps me think about things like when I'm writing, like how would I envision these scenes, or how would I envision taking different elements from different classes and putting them together.
There was one exercise that we got into that kind of helped us explore the characters in our own screenplays. It's really difficult to embody some people that we could never see ourselves in, so we did an exercise in which I had to play a racist character. Now, I clearly do not have any racist ideologies, but to experience that exercise and to portray myself as someone to help develop my own characters, my own screenplays, is definitely an exercise that I took a lot away from.
In many other film schools, it's a set course, you do it for 3 years, you do all the classes, and that's that. Whereas here in the Film Academy, you can pick and choose. You can say, I'll do this module, I'll do that module, and whatever works for you. And so this was great for me. I was able to focus entirely on directing and get a deep dive into how directing works.
I'm an animator, so I have a very different experience than a lot of the other filmmakers that are coming into this program. I'm coming to kind of broaden my horizons about filmmaking in live action to be able to apply that to my animation.
Give me a chance.
I attended the directing classes last semester, where I had the opportunity to learn from Christoph Deák and Peter Deák, and their classes were amazing because we had a hands-on experience about filmmaking, and we had a chance to make shots, and we were taught about blocking and staging, so I definitely learned a lot from them.
It was great to hear their side of things, both in how you finance a film, how you go about just shooting in general, how you deal with actors, extras, makeup, and how you deal with some of the complications that can arise on a film set. I found that very fascinating, and it was great to learn that from industry professionals.
Budapest Film Academy has professionals that are ongoing in the field currently. They're making films, and as aside onto that, they're coming into these classes and teaching us things firsthand. Their own experiences are now helping to shape my future, and I love that because I don't think I would have been able to experience that.
One of the interesting things about the course is that you get different teachers coming in and speaking. One of these teachers was Christoph Deák, who's an Oscar winner. He was heading home after giving this class, and one of my friends met him at the bus stop. And he said to her, there's something I forgot to mention to the class. I'm looking for an intern. Could you mention it to them? And I was fortunate enough to get accepted as an intern with Christoph and then get into work with his company. And so Budapest Film Academy has been brilliant for me in my own personal film career in connecting me up directly with the film industry here in Hungary.
I can remember earlier in the semester, I was working on this one short film idea that I couldn't really piece together. So I went to my professor at BFA, and he actually gave me an extensive amount of notes on what I can do to improve it. Not only that, but he worked with me personally in ways that I can improve my script, which I would never think of at all. In such a short span of time that we had known each other, he stepped away from the work that he was working on at that current moment to help me out, and I really took that to heart.
Early on, I was a freelance video and filmmaker, and then I dropped out of the work for a few years, and now I want to re-enter, and I wanted to find a place with good credentials and good training for video editing. And I found BFA, Budapest Film Academy, and advanced level of the editing class. And I'm very happy with the teachers and with the work that I've done. They gave us the raw footage material, hundreds of different clips from a Hollywood film, including a Hollywood script, and we were supposed to assemble it accordingly. I still have not seen the end film, but I have to make my own version. So I'm flying a bit blind as to what the end product will be, but that's part of the educational process.
One of the things I was nervous about coming to BFA was being in a class full of people who did not speak the same language as I. But I slowly realized that didn't matter. After a while, the class started to feel less like a class and more like a community.
One other great thing in BFA is that they teach us the business way of thinking about filmmaking. I study at the university also film, but in a theoretical way. And it's good to learn the business way because filmmaking is also a business.
I think the interesting thing for me with the creative production classes is being able to hear about the differences of financing your film in the United States compared to in Europe.
That was something I didn't know. That was something very interesting to hear, and now we're learning that a lot of studios from the US are trying to film out here because of that. That's very intriguing. I would love to learn more about that.
I mean, Tom Cruise and John Cena were here
they were
when
both
the semester
here.
started.
Yeah, no, crazy. At the start of the semester, we saw a bunch of just sets out in the streets. It was financing the films. It's great to just learn more about that, the realist side of funding a film and what that looks like. It's very nice to have that mindset.
My favorite subjects at BFA were production and direction. I really enjoyed direction because I got to see everything from the view of a director, and production because I got to learn about all the nitty-gritty things and important things you wouldn't think about as a normal person that need to go into building a production. Both topics and subjects were taught by different teachers. We had Hungarian lecturers and lecturers who joined us from LMU. So you really got to learn about the same topic from two different points of view, which I thought was extremely eye-opening, and you got to learn way more about the things.
Coming into Hungary, more specifically Budapest, I thought that I was going to be an outsider because I've never known any culture outside of my own, especially being in America. When I first arrived in Budapest, I was nervous that I wouldn't integrate with the culture, but it was after a week that I realized that I wouldn't have to worry about that anymore.
Before I had moved to Hungary, I was hearing a lot of kind of stereotypes that were perpetrated, which is that Eastern Europeans, Central Europe, they're very grumpy, they're not super nice. But I had an entirely different experience when I first moved here. One time I met with a guy on the street, and a week later I was having lunch with his parents in a completely different city.
Going to a city like Budapest, which despite being very cosmopolitan, is very small, is a huge change in terms of social life, because you can basically walk everywhere. It's extremely safe, and the options for coffee houses is endless.
That was a concern of mine coming here, that I would need to learn Hungarian, and I know it's a bit of an abrasive language, but
I mean, it's way more international than you would expect it to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. Very international.
One of the things I love about Budapest is their public transportation. Because it's so cheap, it's really easy to go sightseeing on a budget. That's what I'll usually do during my daytime. Now, during my nighttime, I'll usually go to some of the ruined bars like Simple Kurt, or even an axe throwing place like this.
So one of my favorite parts about this city is actually the nightlife, because this is genuinely the biggest small city that you're able to be in. So there's always things that are happening. Every single corner is filled with people. Everyone is very chatty and very kind of looking to do something that night.
The ruined bars are the best.
It's like multiple stories filled with a bunch of rooms, all different types of music and vibes going on. It's an absolute party.
It's a great time.
I mean, in one of the rooms they were doing meditation, and then you go into the other one and it's just like a techno rave.
Here in Los Angeles, Most clubs and bars close after 2 a.m., which is super early, but out here, places tend to be open like literally until dawn.
I think it's really good for our students from Los Angeles to come here and meet international students, see what international filmmakers are interested in, what's exciting them, and then getting the chance to collaborate a little bit and learn just different philosophies, cultural philosophies, entertainment philosophies, historical philosophies.
If I want to tell just one thing that BFA gave me was that the courage of thinking about filmmaking. I was suffering by that because in my thought, filmmaking was a huge thing that was far away from me. But when I knew about the details like this, I thought that, okay, I can handle it. As a director, I can do it.
So being in a city like Budapest, in which honestly everything is so gorgeous and beautiful, you're able to walk down any street and find multiple statues to stare at. It really gave me an actual push to now sit down and start making some creative works of my own, which under 6 months I was actually able to write my own screenplay and fully complete it to the point in which now it's being sent off to other people to review and we're working on the next stages of it. But before that, it was super easy for me to just say I'll write tomorrow. But in a city like this, in which there's constant creativity going on, there's artists at every block, it really was impossible to not want to create my own stuff.
We all have our own little secrets.
After earning my master's degree in writing and directing, I moved to Hollywood, where for over 10 years I participated in Milton Katsella's Master Workshop. Milton often reminded us, attitude monitors talent. In other words, what we put into our careers determines what we achieve.